Welcome to the voice of St. Anthony Parish from Alston, Massachusetts, right here on WROL, 950 AM, 100.3 FM, and you can also hear us at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. We're here every single Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then the program drops on your favorite podcast platform. Well, one of the things we were talking about this week is the doctrine of justification, and I started this off by talking about the JDDJ a little bit, which is the Joint Declaration on the Doctrine of Justification signed by leaders in the Lutheran faith and the Catholic faith. And we've been talking all week of the Catholic understanding of justification. And I led people away from the understanding that our role is to avoid mortal sin, which obviously it is, but our real focus is to serve Christ. So we're called to please Christ. And how do we please Christ? By loving God and loving neighbor. Therefore, if you're focused on avoiding sin, you may not love God or neighbor at all, but you're avoiding sin. So now the next question would be, well, then who goes to hell and who goes to heaven? Well, the church is very straightforward on who goes to hell. It's the people who are obstinate in their faith, rejecting the grace and the will of God, period. It's someone who knows what is the right thing to do, chooses not to, and doesn't care. And if I were to show this person that this is the direction that you are called to follow and you to turn from sin and follow Christ, they would say, please go away. I don't care. Go away from me. But there are ways you can do that subtly and not recognize it. And that's where you have to be careful. There are signs that when you're walking down the wrong path, they are there, but you're not picking up on it. Okay, one of the great signs to look out for is the ends justify the means. I can do an evil act with the interest of, even though I'm doing an evil act, that eventually good will result. So I'm doing something evil, but good will result. That is impossible, except through the grace of God, but you're not God. And so if you're committing an evil act, that's a warning sign, and it could very well be a mortal sin. It's okay to lie, providing that ultimately we're going to get good results from it. Well, no, it isn't okay to lie. So if you listen to that point, that's a red flag. That's when you step in and say, warning sign, there's something wrong with that statement, and therefore I am not going to obey it and follow it. But that's where the subtlety can come in. And you can recognize some of the subtlety all the time. You understand? So you can recognize this subtlety all the time, and if you just kind of ignore it, then you know there's a problem. I think one of the best examples I can think, and this isn't necessarily a sinful act, but I've told you about Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. Now, that book is dedicated to Lucifer. It says right there, right at the beginning of the book, how many Catholics who may not be practicing their faith, but have been brought up Catholic, how many Catholics could read that book and say, that's okay, that's not a red flag. That's a huge red flag, that the book is dedicated to Lucifer. That's a huge red flag. So the obvious question is, why are you using that book? And that's an important consideration. You know I despise the book. I remember reading it sometime and said, you can save your money on the cost of the book, just talk to your local gang member and they can give you all the same tactics right in there. But you see what I'm saying? So that understanding of we realize that we be careful of the red flags. If someone calls you to do something wrong, then that is a warning sign. Now, like say, for example, you're talking about what gets people in trouble. If someone I'm not going to name the celebrity, but there was a major celebrity who was on trial. He's no longer living. He was on trial for sexual actions against young people. Okay, major celebrity. And it came out in court that he was showing young people pornography. And everyone was like, okay with that. I'm like, Whoa, that's a huge red flag. And I've taught that to youth. If someone shows you pornography, that's a huge red flag. Get away from that person really quick. And they may do this, oh, this is okay. It's all right. No, it isn't. But you see, that's a warning sign that you're in the path to sin. And so the obvious question is, why would I want to walk down that path if my whole focus is pleasing Christ? Do you see that? So when we become blind to the will of God and we kind of rationalize things as being it's okay when clearly it is against what the Lord is calling us to, that's when we walk down the wrong path. That's when we are in danger because we are blinded, and we have to be careful of that. We're going to talk more on the other side of the break. You're listening to the voice of St. Anthony Parish from Allston, Massachusetts. We'll be back right after this. Are you looking for guidance on how to live a purposeful and transformed life? Look no further than Romans 12, a chapter in the New Testament that offers practical wisdom for believers. Romans 12 begins with a powerful call to offer our bodies as living sacrifices to God, urging us to renew our minds and align them with His will. This chapter highlights the importance of humility, using our gifts for the benefit of others, and exercising genuine love. It teaches us to be diligent in serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, persevering in tribulation, and being devoted to prayer. But it doesn't stop there. Romans 12 also teaches us to live in harmony with others, extending kindness and hospitality even to our enemies. It urges us to overcome evil with good and leave vengeance to God. So if you're seeking guidance on how to live a life of love, humility, and service, dive into Romans 12. Let its practical wisdom transform your life. Romans 12, a chapter that offers a roadmap to living a purposeful and transformed Christian life. Available now in the New Testament. Get your copy today. We're back, and we're talking about this understanding of how do we end up in hell and how do we end up in heaven. So I gave you the warning sign. It's, if you reject your relationship with Christ, or even if you claim to have one, but you walk down paths that have major red flags and you miss them all, then that's where you're walking away from Christ because you're doing things that He doesn't want. And you'll always rationalize that. Oh, but this is okay. No, it's not okay. And I've used that expression before when I'm talking, well, this is okay. No, it's not okay. No, it is not okay. Usually it's in someone who gets hurt in a special way. No, but I'll be okay. No, you won't be okay. You've just, this is all hypothetical. Although I've dealt with similar conversations. I fell and broke my arm, but I'll be okay. No, you won't be okay unless you go see a doctor. Otherwise, you're not going to be okay. Do you understand that? But some people will do that in rationalization. Well, I shouldn't have, they want me to lie on this form, but that's okay. No, it's not okay. And that's the red flag that goes up. So we want to seek to do what pleases God as opposed to avoiding sin. So, what can we do that pleases God? Well, that's where we have to be people of prayer and understand where the Lord is calling us. And that's where He transforms us. This is what the Catholic Church teaches. He transforms us. He gives us a greater wisdom. So, we will turn away from sin in order to grow in grace. Maybe I could give you a classic example of this. We want to do something that glorifies God. So whatever we do would be something that God would want us to do. And so helping the poor. But helping the poor means to do things that do help the poor. It doesn't necessarily mean to attack the rich. Do you understand that? And there are people like that. Oh, no, we should attack the rich. No, that's not how you do this. You seek to help the poor, but you don't do it by attacking. I'm talking about, any kind of attack against the rich, because that doesn't make any sense. Because attacking the rich is also outside of love of neighbor, which we're called to love God and neighbor. Do you understand? So helping the poor would be finding something else that has nothing to do with attacking the rich, but everything with guiding the poor. So the poor person who needs assistance in various ways. I mean, there is that old saying, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a person a fish, he eats for life. Well, then that's one thing you can do. You can teach a person a trade or an understanding or something that they may not know. You could help someone who, one of the things you have to understand is that many of the poor do not have the connections that even the middle class or even the upper or the lower middle class and obviously the upper middle class have. And that all begins with education in school. So a poor person who is never able to make it into college has no connections that the college people make. Do you understand? The college people, the people who graduate from college, do you understand? They have that connection that the poor people have. So you can help them with those connections that others don't have. Do you see that? And that's a real issue for some of the poor or people who get frustrated or people, maybe one of the things you can do is help someone get a job, hire someone who needs a job. And knowing that maybe you have to put them on probation as, work probation as a sign of we'll see if they work out, but you leave yourself that door that if they don't work out, you can, ask them to leave. But you understand you're taking that extra step and doing what pleases the Lord in many ways. That's what we're called to do. We want to avoid sin, but more importantly, we want to please the Lord. We'll talk more on Monday, but in the meantime, have yourself a blessed day.
I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com.
If you're searching for a meaningful spiritual experience, look no further than St. Anthony's Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. Join us at 43 Holton Street in between Soldiers Field Road and the Mass Pike. Immerse yourself in the complete St. Anthony's Parish encounter through our 10 o'clock a.m. chanted Mass. Whether you're a Catholic seeking a parish to call home or someone looking for spiritual guidance, our welcoming community is here for you. Visit our website at www.stanthonyalston.org for more information. St. Anthony's Parish, where faith finds a home.